that's a centralized college in West Bengal, only in Kolkata. Now I passed out in 2018. After that, I gave GATE exam and qualified and went for pursuing an MTech degree in materials engineering from IIT Roorkee. So during my MTech degree, in my second year, I did a paid internship, MTech internship in Tata Steel. That was a collaborative internship between IIT Roorkee and Tata Steel. So mine was I stayed in Jamshedpur only and did my research project in Tata Steel only. Uh, and so that is why I'm thinking that maybe if I go for a PhD, will that be a better option for me? And one more thing that is that I think
Paul,
that doing a PhD from India is
Paul, your voice was cut, so I was not able to hear you. What's going on in your
okay,
mind
okay,
when you joined? So I did not hear.
okay, okay. Like before I joined, during my MTech, I was determined to do to join the industry only. That's why I did my project in the industry only from Tata Steel. So after I joined over here, after I actually joined as an employee, I found that people just get into the comfort zone. That is what I fear after joining the industry. Like when I see people just work in one field only for 3 years, 5 years, and even though they want even though they don't like that work, but they can't really get out of that work. They can't really get out of that comfort zone. So that is what is bothering me, that I don't want to get into that comfort zone. Uh, so for that, for that, I think that I am not utilizing my skills in a proper way. I'm not, getting exposed to a lot of challenges. Uh, so, so that is the thing. Those are the dilemmas that I am facing right now. So, uh,
Okay. So I understood you did your MTech from IIT Roorkee, and how long you have joined the job?
oh, I have joined in 2020 only. I'm a 2020 pass out.
Okay, okay. So maybe
Yeah,
like 3 months.
yeah. I joined of September, so 3 to 4.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 24.
24. Okay. Okay. So Paul, let me answer your
Yeah,
questions in a
yeah.
couple of ways. And when you're saying I'm thinking of PhD, I'm
Hmm.
assuming you have to give GRE, TOEFL, and all that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You have
yeah,
to
yeah,
do preparation for that.
yeah. I'm gradually starting for preparation for
Okay.
preparing for
Okay.
GRE and TOEFL.
Let me ask you this question.
Hmm.
Are you
Yeah.
thinking of doing PhD in India or you're thinking of PhD outside India? And why are you thinking of doing PhD? That's my question. Like why you are thinking, where you want to do and
Uh,
why.
yeah. Like in India, I can do a PhD in India, but I think if I go outside India, like in US, I will get exposed to a lot of things.
Mhm.
Like in India, the things are much more constrained. Means the exposure is not that much that I have felt during my MTech days. But while like I have a few friends in US and Europe, so they said that means there's a lot of exposure outside. Like there are a lot of interdisciplinary works. So those things are there. So from the exposure point of view, like doing a PhD from India is not a bad thing. It is obviously a good thing only, but I think the exposure will also matter. Means I will get to know that what is actually happening around the world.
Okay. I would definitely tell you one thing is
Hmm.
just 1 second. Yeah. So I think, as I said to you, that's very true what you said. If you want to do a PhD, my always advice is go outside.
Hmm.
But Again, don't go anywhere. Just for going outside means go to a good university which has a reputation. Just don't find a university in let's I'm just saying like in a country because you want to do PhD outside. You know what I mean? Go to like
Mm-hmm.
University of Maryland, University of Rice University, like a university people know.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't go anywhere. That's number one. And that's true that doing a PhD is outside is good. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So I that's for sure. But I will also tell you one thing is if your plan is to do a PhD and find a job in US, working in industry is always going to be more or less the same as you are feeling right now. Trust me, doesn't matter.
Okay.
So if you are
Mm-hmm.
thinking of, oh, I'm going to go to
Okay.
some company and this is not the case, it will not happen because any industry work on a product, right? And you are a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you will do a,
Yeah.
I mean, working in industry, what you told me is normal. That's how people feel. The question here is, how can you
Okay.
change it? How can you change it? Because just
Okay.
I won't advise you that okay you come to US, let's say you will find a job here, things will be different because people have same question here also. I have the same question.
Okay.
So because as I said, industry, you don't define a role in an industry. Industry defines a role for you.
Okay.
Unlike like if you become let's say if you say hey I want to become a professor, that I can understand because a professor can define its role. They can do different research, so
Mm-hmm.
they can do different things. But industry, that is the norm. Because as I said, you work for a product. You just can't say hey I don't like, let's say if you're working in that company and you say tomorrow I want to work for to make a refrigerator. You can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my question to you is you need to make sure that why
Mm-hmm.
you are looking for a change. Because as I said to you, if your aim will be hey I'm going to find a job in US and things will be different, I don't think that would be the case. There are very few jobs where they allow changes, but as I said, you name a company, you will work on a product, you will a part of the organization, and you work a small thing, and that's what people do whole life, especially in R&D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will say that if you're saying hey I want to become a professor, because that is the only way you can feel the change different.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you another thing, which I will be very cautious with you. I'm glad you spoke to me. The job you are doing is, I think, is one of the best companies and one of the best jobs also. So before you leave the job, be careful because I know many people where they regret, because it's not like you could do a PhD, you will find a job. See, the only question you are having right now
Okay.
that you are thinking, how can I, how can I utilize my skill set? How can I do things different? I don't want to do repeated things. Trust me, you can actually do that staying in your own job. Just, I will give an example. For example, I started thinking, hey, whatever I do in my job, it's kind of being boring. So how can I energize myself? So I said, why can't I start a Careerpedia and help students, and I enjoy that now. I do something else. I get that change from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
My point here is I think you can do the same thing. Try to figure it out. You can do it. So staying in your company, you can try to do different things. I would say as much as energy you are figuring it out to move out, I would say I will put that energy in my company and say what are the different roles I can contribute. And you are very new, you need to learn first, right? So stay in that company for a couple of
Okay.
years, unless until you are really interested in research. You're like no 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 I really want to do, then I understand. Otherwise for to just think of, oh, this is not the way, this is like I'm not utilizing my skill set. This is a very common problem for anyone working in an industry. It never happens. Very few times it happens.
Okay. Okay.
So don't have that illusion. That I'm glad you spoke to me, because this is one of the bad ways people think about. Because trust me, if you come here and all your friends, let me tell you, I think you are luckier than your friends because they have to still find a job, and who knows, they will not find, they will be in trouble. You have a job, take it, take it seriously. You have just started. I would say
Mhm.
at least spend at least 1 year, 2 year before you make a decision that I want to do a PhD, because still I think your age is okay. Because by the time you will know, okay, I really need to do PhD. As far as you're concerned
Okay.
about can I do different things, all that, you can always educate yourself. You can do different online courses. You can develop a skill set. You can go for an MBA. You can do part-time PhD, still keeping the job and still energize yourself. Like I'm doing something different. Your question is, I'm not feeling that. I don't think that is a very strong reason to leave your job, especially what's going on in the world, and then say, I'm going to go for a PhD because I, who knows, you might regret. But if you say, I have very strong interest in research, but I found this job, I took it, but this is, then I would not ask you this. I would say, yeah, then you need to go out. But you didn't say, you said something else. So my answer to that will be different then.
Mhm. Okay.
So think carefully, because I can tell you very honest answer. I'm being very honest with you. It doesn't happen.
Mhm.
I speak, I mean, if you ask myself, right, I've been working in industry for 10 years. I mean, it took quite a long time for me to find something which I really enjoy. But who knows how long I will enjoy? I will might feel the same thing. So what happens then, right? Because as I
Mhm.
said, when you work in industry, you don't define the role. Unlike if you become a professor, especially in US, they define the role. So that's why, one of the good things about becoming a professor in US is you can do different research, you can do whatever you want, you can wake up at 10 o'clock, you can sleep at 10 o'clock. There's no restriction in that sense.
Mhm.
And then most of the thing you get enjoyment about talking to your students, your professors, and so forth. You're doing different things. But industry, trust me, you don't define the role there. So my advice to you, think, and just don't do PhD for the sake of doing PhD because you want to get out because you are feeling bored. That's not the right reason at all. You could be in trouble. Find the right reason in your head first of all why I want to do PhD, because you love research. That is the only reason you do PhD. There's no other reason. And there are many times people say, hey, I don't like living in India. There's more opportunities. Yeah, that might be a valid reason too. But I think you found a good opportunity, in my opinion.
Mhm.
It's a good place. I'm actually in this pandemic, you are able to find a job. I'm glad actually, because there are a lot of people who are not,
Mhm.
especially in US, people who are.
Mhm.
I can tell you one thing. There are many people who are graduating from US universities, and if the
Mhm.
company give them the job you have, they will come back and take it. So take your job seriously. My advice to you is, again, I'm going to repeat, very simple. First of all, find a valid reason to do a PhD. If not, focus on your job for another 1 or 2 years. It's too early for you to say, I don't like it. It's too early. Okay. At least 2 years you need to learn
Okay.
because you haven't learned. Learn, and then in the meantime try to figure it out, what's going on, what things you enjoy, what not. Because trust me, you can be bored of the company which you're working in, but then you always can go to other company. But the problem will not go away,
Okay.
because then you will be there for 2 years and like, I'm done learning, you can go to another one. People do that all the time. This is not our parents
Mhm.
days, where they stuck in one company and live forever. I mean, these days, our generation, I think this is my 10th year. I mean, after PhD, almost 10 years, I have this is my fourth company. So people move out. It's not like our parents' days. You know what I mean? That we work in a one company
Mhm.
and we retire. It doesn't happen now.
Okay.
Okay. And as far as I said, find the right reason. Right reason is very important. I'm not discouraging you to do PhD or something, but I don't think you right now you have a valid reason for me to say or advise you to say, this is a very good reason, get out now. If you were unemployed, if you were not finding anything, I would have said, I think you have a good job. Trust me, it's a good company. I know that because I know the work.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So don't, I mean, on second or thought, you're just been 2 or 3 months here. I mean, it's too early to say all those questions. So focus on your work, focus on your job. You're very fortunate to have a job and have a job. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Paul, any other question do you have?
Uh, so can I ask you one question? Like I have seen your profile.
Mhm.
Your profile is very much varied. Like you had done your BTech in mining engineering, I
Mhm.
guess. Then you went for mechanical engineering, MS,
Civil,
and civil, and then you did PhD in materials and
mechanical.
mechanical. Uh, so, like there is a lot of department change. Uh, like what was means people don't usually go for a department like from mining engineering. People don't usually go to a civil engineering department, then to a mechanical engineering department. So, uh, what was the reason for your change of department, or you like the research, like the departments or the subjects, like?
So, I mean, I never intended to become a mining engineer, right? Because in India, I have seen a lot of mines in
Hmm.
Bihar and many other places. So, it was not a job which I would take. But I think when I was in second year, we had a very good professor that introduced us to rock mechanics, and I started enjoying material mechanics of materials. So even in
Okay.
civil engineering, I was studying mechanics. Mechanical, I was studying mechanics. So the topic didn't change, only
Okay.
the brand changed.
Okay.
Yeah, that I mean, you can't study propulsion if you are doing mining
Hmm.
engineering. There has to be a similarity. So what I say myself, I'm a materials engineer. Whether rock, soil, plastic, I don't care. I'm a materials guy because the mechanics is the same. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So mechanics remain the same, and that's how I move.
Okay.
Because right now,
Like
being a
you have.
mining engineer, I work for a space company. How can it happen otherwise, right?
Mhm.
But
Like
anyway, Paul,
one more
I think,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what you were working in a space company, so you have to be a permanent citizen to work in a
US
space
citizen.
company in US.
US citizen.
US citizen.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can't work without that.
Okay, an international student can't apply to
No,
a space company or an aircraft company also.
no. I mean,
OEMs.
yeah,
Okay.
more or less, you should have at least a green card or most likely US citizen. I mean, the company you are working in Sikorsky, it's a part of Lockheed.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
even Tata have a collaboration with Lockheed. I think they have an office in Bangalore, I believe. I think you can work at Sikorsky, Tata, and Lockheed. They do a lot of work together. So those are the companies for
Mhm.
Indian citizens to work for.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think the company you're
Okay.
working is a good company. Focus on that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, Paul. I had to
Okay.
leave, but I hope it
Huh.
clears your mind a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and keep in touch.
Mhm.
And as I said, focus on your work. My advice to you will don't distract. You need to work. You need to learn. It's a good company. You need to focus. Don't distract too much.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you decide to do PhD, as I said,
Okay.
find a right
Mhm.
reason. I
Mhm.
don't think you have a right reason in your mind right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because somebody is doing
Okay.
it, don't do it.
And
Not a good idea.
mhm. And how to actually find out the research area means like which research area if I go for a PhD maybe after 2 years
You don't
or three
find
years.
research area. You like a research
Okay.
area.
Okay.
You see, here's the thing. One of the biggest problem with people is they say,
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
can I do this because are there jobs there? It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
You love whatever
Okay.
you do. Doesn't matter. You
Okay.
you love music because you love it. The money, the job comes
Mm-hmm.
later on. You love something first.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it
Okay.
works. It doesn't work other way around because then it will be useless. You won't be doing amazing things. You need to love something. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, you love to do carpentry. not because you will sell the
Mhm.
desk. You love it, and then you make
Mhm.
amazing things, and then you make millions. Do you understand my point? In
Mhm.
your brain, you need to figure it out. I mean, you're a M Tech student, you're not a B Tech, so you should know it better.
Mhm.
You need to know
Mhm.
by this time what excites you. And if you don't, figure that out and then go after that. Not because, hey, what should I do because I can find a job? No, 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 no. Because you will be doing um, rest everybody's doing nothing except doing a job. I want you to